Everyone told me I was crazy, a hopeless romantic, a fool who'd throw away a perfectly good future for a girl. And for Chloe Anderson, I did. I quit my job in New York, turned my back on a career my parents had bled for, and followed her back to her sleepy little hometown in Ohio. Looking back, I must have been out of my mind. As Chloe's career took off, the way she looked at me changed. The passion was gone, replaced by a polite, almost clinical brush-off. I kept telling myself I was imagining things. It was all just in my head, until the car accident. I was on the phone with her when it happened. One moment I was talking, the next, the world was a blur of metal and glass. When I came to, the first thing I did was call her back. A man's voice answered. Yeah, who is this? My heart seized. My hand, slick with blood, trembled as I gripped my phone. Who are you? I'm Chloe's boyfriend, the voice said, dripping with arrogance. What do you want? I'm her husband. I managed to choke out, the words catching in my throat. You too. He hung up before I could finish. A moment later, Chloe's name flashed on my screen. Ethan, where are you? Her voice was the same gentle tone I'd fallen in love with. I was in an accident. I'm at the hospital, I said, the pain in my ribs a dull, throbbing ache. Who was that on your phone? What? Oh my God, are you okay? I'm on my way right now, just hang on. Her voice was laced with panic, a perfect imitation of concern. But I knew she was with him. She arrived at the emergency room assured, while later, breathless and frantic. Ethan, are you hurt? She cried, rushing to my bedside. Her eyes, wide and red-rimmed, took in the bandages on my arm and a gash on my forehead. Chloe, I said, my voice flat. I want a divorce. No, I'm not signing anything, she sobbed, grabbing my hand, her grip desperate. It's not what you think. Let me explain. You don't have to explain. I already know. I pulled my hand away and turned my face to the wall. Ethan, I can't live without you. Please don't do this, please. She sank to her knees beside the hospital bed, tears streaming down her face. I let out a long, ragged sigh. You know, in the 5 years we've been together, you've never begged me for anything. You've always been so proud, so confident. No, I don't want a divorce. I love you, Ethan. I really do. You have to believe me, she pleaded, shaking her head violently. The bitterness in my mouth tasted like ash. We can go back, Chloe. You gave your love to someone else. I can't trust you anymore. No, I didn't. It was a mistake, a stupid, one-time thing. Just forgive me this once, please. She clutched at the sleeve of my hospital gown, her body racked with sobs. Let's just end this, I said, pushing her hand away. This isn't good for either of us. I got up and walked out of the room, leaving her crying on the floor. A year after I left, Chloe got married. Not to me, of course. To him. When I heard the news, I wasn't surprised. It felt inevitable. She'd been seeing him even when we were still together. She had begged me to forgive her, called it a moment of weakness, but it was all just words. We were over. I poured myself into my new job, trying to forget. Then, a rumor started circulating through the office. A new executive, a beautiful woman, was being brought in to lead our department. The news sent a ripple of excitement through all the single guys, especially my cubicle mate, Mark. Ethan, did you hear? Mark leaned over the partition, his eyes wide. We're getting a new boss. Total smoke show, and get this, she's divorced. Oh yeah, I said, not looking up from my screen. I couldn't have cared less. Yeah, man. I heard she's not just gorgeous, she's a powerhouse. Super smart. He was practically vibrating with excitement. I grunted. Dude, what's with you? Aren't you even a little excited? Mark looked at me, bewildered. What's it got to do with me? I asked. What's it got to do with you? She's a beautiful, available woman. If I could land that, my life would be made, he said, a dreamy look on his face. Well, good luck with that, I said with a small smile and went back to my work. The day the new boss arrived, the whole office was buzzing. Mark was right. She was stunning, with an air of confidence that commanded attention. The moment she walked in, every eye was on her. Whoa, she's even better in person. Seriously, I'd do anything for a date with her. Keep dreaming, buddy. She's way out of your league. The whispers followed her as she walked to the front of the conference room. I was the only one sitting in silence, a storm of emotions churning in my gut as I stared at that painfully familiar face. It was my ex-wife, Chloe. I stared, stunned, but she didn't seem to recognize me. Her expression was all business. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chloe Anderson, and I'm your new department head. I look forward to working with all of you. Her voice was crisp and professional, a world away from the Chloe I once knew. Wow, even her voice is sexy, Mark whispered beside me, completely mesmerized. I said nothing, my eyes fixed on the woman who was both a stranger and the ghost of my entire past. Ethan, you're staring. Mark nudged me. You got a thing for her already. Shut up, Mark, I said, my voice colder than I intended. I used to know her. Oh yeah? How? Don't tell me she's another ex-girlfriend. I took a slow breath. No, she was my wife, Chloe, and I met in college. She was a small-town girl who had fought her way into a top university in New York. You could see the drive and brilliance in everything she did. I was drawn to her from the moment I saw her. She was bright, warm, and relentlessly optimistic, like a beacon of light that nothing could dim. She was the kind of person who shone, even in a crowd. Naturally, guys were always falling over themselves to get her attention. We were in the same major but different classes, so I mostly admired her from a distance, just one of many. Some guys made grand gestures, professing their love in public. I just watched. I never thought we'd cross paths, but a summer volunteer program brought us together. The university organized a trip to build houses in rural Appalachia. Both of us, driven by a genuine desire to help, signed up. It was fate. During those weeks of hard work under the hot sun, we spent more time together. She was like a tireless force of nature, lifting everyone's spirits and warming everyone she met. I found myself falling for her hard. One afternoon, she collapsed from heat stroke. I was the first one to her side, carrying her back to the bunkhouse. As she lay there, her face flushed, I had an overwhelming urge to touch her cheek, but I held back, afraid of crossing a line. My hand hovered in the air for a long moment before I let it drop. Just then, her eyes fluttered open. "Were you about to touch my face?" she whispered. I panicked, thinking she'd misunderstood. I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by it." A slow smile spread across her lips. "It's okay," she said, her voice teasing. "If you won't, I will." And then she leaned up and kissed me. I froze, completely stunned. "If you like someone, you have to be bold," she said, laughing at my dumbfounded expression. "A guy is hesitant, as you will never get the girl." In that moment, she completely disarmed me. Her courage and directness made me feel like a coward. I pulled her into my arms and kissed her back, pouring every ounce of my feelings into it. "Chloe, I'm crazy about you," I said, looking deep in her eyes. Her smile was dazzling. "I know. I'm crazy about you too." After graduation, our relationship moved fast. She got a great job offer from a company back in her hometown, and her parents were pressuring her to take it. She was torn between staying in New York and going back. She asked me what I thought, what I would do if she left. I knew she was asking for my sake. She was an only child. Of course her parents wanted her close. My parents were the same. They wanted me, their only son, to stay in the city where the opportunities were. It's a natural thing for parents to want. But Chloe had put the decision in my hands. I had to be the man she needed me to be. I couldn't let her be the one to make the hard choice. "I'll go with you," I said. The words were easy to say, but the reality was gut-wrenching. I had worked my ass off to get out of my small town and build a life in New York. My parents had sacrificed so much for me, pinning all their hopes on my success in the big city. When I told my parents I was giving it all up to move to a small town in Ohio, they were devastated. My mom begged me to reconsider. "Ethan, honey, think about this. There are no opportunities there. Your career will stall." I knew all of that, but what I knew more was that I loved Chloe more than anything. Losing her for a job would be a regret I'd carry for the rest of my life. You get a few major choices in life, and for this one, I was going to be selfish. Ignoring their pleas, I packed my bags and followed Chloe home. It was a remote little place, so far off the beaten path you had to take a bus from the nearest train station. After a 20-hour train ride, I finally arrived. It was a snowy night, and through the flurries, I saw her waiting for me, bundled up in a thick coat. I ran to her, my heart pounding. "Chloe, I'm here." Her eyes were red when she saw me. "Ethan, are you really sure? Giving all that up for me?" "I'd give up anything for you," I said, looking into her eyes, my voice firm. "My life, even—" "Let's get married," she whispered, tears of joy streaming down her face. "Let's be together forever." I cried too. I had lost everything to be there, but as long as I had her, it felt worth it. After we got married, I got a job as an English teacher at the local elementary school. Chloe started at the corporate firm. The first year was bliss. I'd get home from school, cook dinner, and wait for her. We'd do chores together, cook together, take long walks. We did everything together. My parents were still so angry they wouldn't even take my calls. I planned to bring Chloe home for the holidays to try and smooth things over, but before I could, she got a promotion. She got busier. Working late became the new normal. Soon, she was spending her weekends at the office too. I'd watch her grow thinner, her face etched with exhaustion, and my heart would ache. "You're working too hard," I'd tell her. "Slow down. I'm here with you. We'll build our future together." She would just smile and say, "It's okay. If I work a little harder now, we can have a better life sooner." She was always pushing, always striving. Her relentless drive paid off. In less than 2 years, she was a department manager. At the dinner celebrating her promotion, I met Kyle Matthews for the first time. Kyle was Chloe's colleague and her main rival at the company. From the moment I saw him, I felt a knot of unease in my stomach. I couldn't explain it. After the dinner, I asked Chloe, "What's the deal with that Kyle guy?" "He's just a co-worker," she said dismissively. "Don't overthink it." But after that night, Kyle started seeping into the edges of our life. His name in her texts, his calls at odd hours, the faint scent of his expensive cologne on her clothes when she came home late. His provocations were so obvious I couldn't ignore them anymore. Meanwhile, Chloe's late nights stretched longer. Sometimes she wouldn't come home at all. One night, I waited until midnight. She never came. I took an Uber to her office. Through the large glass window of her corner office, I saw them. Kyle was stroking her cheek, his touch intimate. "It's getting late," he murmured, his voice soft. "You should get home before your husband starts calling. Don't you want me to stay a little longer?" Chloe's voice was a playful purr. "Of course I do," Kyle said, pulling her into a gentle embrace. "But I don't want him to find out and give you trouble." A hot rage surged through me. I burst into the office and threw a punch straight at Kyle's jaw. "You son of a bitch," he snarled, wiping a trickle of blood from his lip. "What's wrong with you?" I yelled, getting in his face. "You're messing with my wife, and you think I shouldn't hit you?" "You have any proof?" he sneered, utterly shameless. The sight of him made me want to hit him again, but Chloe jumped between us. "Ethan, stop it," she yelled. "You're acting like a thug. This is so disappointing." From that day on, our relationship turned to ice. We were in a Cold War for 2 weeks before she finally sat me down and slid a sheaf of papers across the table. "Divorce papers." "Ethan, I have real feelings for Kyle," she said, avoiding my eyes. "I know cheating was wrong, but you can't control who you fall in love with. It's over." My world shattered. I grabbed her arm. "Chloe, what about me? Did you ever love me at all?" She shook her head. "I'm sorry, Ethan. Marrying you, it was an impulse." A week later, Kyle found me. He wanted to talk. "What's there to talk about?" I said, the sight of his smug face making my blood boil. "It's been over a week. Why are you still dragging this out?" he asked, looking down on me. "Chloe and I are in love. Don't you think it's pathetic to keep clinging to her?" "I'm not the one dragging it out. I want to hear it from Chloe herself. You really think you're some kind of hero, don't you?" Kyle took out his phone and played a video. It was the security footage from the office, showing me punching him. "I suggest you sign those papers quietly. Otherwise, this little video goes straight to your school board. Let's see what they think of their mild-mannered teacher then." "You." I pointed a shaking finger at him, speechless with rage. "What? You gonna hit me again?" he taunted. "Take a good look at yourself. You're a broke elementary school teacher. What can you possibly give her? The luxury she deserves? The life she wants? You can't. So do us all a favor. Sign the papers, find some other divorced teacher, and live out your sad, mediocre life." His words cut deeper than any punch. He was right. I couldn't afford the designer bag she wanted or the exotic vacation she dreamed of. I couldn't give her anything. "What do you want from me?" I asked, defeated. "It's not what I want. It's what you need to do," he said impatiently. "Sign the papers. Chloe and I have already set a wedding date. What are you waiting for?" "I want Chloe to ask me for the divorce in person," I said, my voice shaking with a final shred of defiance. "You're a goddamn psycho," he spat and stormed out. After that, Chloe never came home. I started calling and texting her relentlessly. She blocked my number, so I started waiting for her outside her office building. Kyle said I had no pride? Fine. I'd show him what a man with nothing left to lose looked like. He wanted to ruin my reputation? I'd ruin his first. I wrote up a detailed account of his affair with my wife, printed out hundreds of copies, and plastered them all over the lobby of their office building. I handed them out to everyone who walked by. I had nothing left anyway. Ever since I'd cut ties with my family for Chloe, she was all I had. It worked. Kyle was fired. The story of his affair became the talk of the company. Chloe's parents found out. The traditional, church-going couple was mortified. They called us both over to their house. In front of me, her father screamed at her until he was red in the face. "If you divorce this boy after what he gave up for you," her mother sobbed, "you will bring such shame on this family. I'll never be able to show my face in church again." Under the immense pressure, Chloe broke. She ended things with Kyle and came back to me. In a war between 3 people, I had one. That night, Chloe and I talked for hours. We looked through old photos, remembering the good times. We held each other and cried. "I'm so sorry, Ethan," she wept. "I broke it off with him for good. Let's just go back to how we were." I nodded. It didn't matter if she was telling the whole truth. As long as she was willing to come home, that was enough for me. Besides her, I'd never loved anyone else. I couldn't believe that years of us could be erased by a guy like Kyle. For the next 2 months, things were quiet. Chloe stopped working late. We cooked together, watched movies, talked. We visited her parents. We even made plans to visit mine next month. It felt like we were finally back on track. Until one night, when Chloe was in the shower, her phone lit up on the nightstand. I couldn't resist. I picked it up. A call from an unknown number. The person on the other end heard my voice and immediately hung up. Then, the text started pouring in. Chloe, why are you being so cruel to me? You told me you loved me. Why did you leave? Is he forcing you to do this? Just tell me what's going on. Chloe, I can't live without you. Please come back. You said you'd help me find a new job. You said you wanted to have kids with me. What about our trip we planned? Chloe, please come back. I'm begging you. I was still holding the phone when Chloe walked out of the bathroom, toweling her hair. She saw the phone in my hand, and her face fell. She knew. Ethan, you don't trust me again, do you? She said, sitting on the edge of the bed. What the hell is this, Chloe? You're still talking to Kyle? I demanded, my voice rising. Helping him find a job? Sleeping with him? How much have you been doing behind my back? Why would you do this to me? I was completely losing it, grabbing her by the shoulders and shaking her. Calm down. Chloe shoved me away. I'm not going to divorce you, but I need time to handle things with Kyle. Time to handle things? I laughed, a raw, broken sound. You've already gone back to him. How else do you need to handle it? Haven't I been good to you, Chloe? Why are you doing this to me? I was screaming now, a wild animal backed into a corner. My hysteria seemed to ignite her own anger. And have I not been good to you? She shot back. For years. All you ever do is doubt me. I'm so sick of it. That night, I packed a bag. I called in sick to work and left. On the way out of town, I crashed my car. The road was slick, I hit a patch of black ice, and the car spun out. My arm was broken in the impact, my forehead split open by shattering glass. Blood was everywhere. I managed to crawl out of the wreck. I sat on the side of the road, pulled out my phone, and dialed Chloe's number. Unsurprisingly, she didn't answer. I tried a few more times. Nothing. I sent her a text. Got in an accident. Was thinking of you. Then I called an Uber and took myself to the hospital. By the time they had me patched up, the sun was rising. It was after 8 by the time I got back to our apartment complex. As I walked from the parking lot, I saw them. Chloe and Kyle, standing under a tree, locked in a passionate kiss. They were completely lost in each other, oblivious to the world around them. In that moment, a strange, profound calm washed over me. The old me would have charged over there, fists flying, but now, I felt nothing. I just stood there for a few minutes, watching, and then I turned and walked away. I suddenly realized that all my years of devotion, of fighting for us, had been meaningless. Chloe was right. She didn't love me anymore. Even if I got rid of Kyle, she'd just find someone else. What could I do to stop it? I understood. I didn't love her anymore, either. After lunch, I went into the study where Chloe was reading. I placed the divorce papers on the table in front of her. Chloe, let's get a divorce. She glanced at the papers, then up at me, a smirk on her face. This again? Really? Are you trying to pick another fight? Don't you ever get tired of this? She waved a dismissive hand. I'm not falling for it. I'm not fighting, I said calmly. I'm serious. Take a look at the agreement. I don't want anything. It's all yours. She stared at the papers, her smirk faltering. Ethan, are you sure about this? Her voice was serious now. I'm sure, I said. Fine. I'll sign. She grabbed a pen and scrawled her name on the signature line. After she finished, she tossed the papers back at me. I could see her hand was shaking, her signature a messy scrawl. She was rattled. We can go to the courthouse this afternoon. I asked. Whatever, she snapped. Then let's go, I said, getting up. Ethan, what is wrong with you? She suddenly yelled. Everything was fine yesterday, and now you're doing this? What's your game? I'm not going. I looked at her and almost laughed. This woman, how much did she truly despise me? Even when I was giving her exactly what she wanted, she couldn't be civil. But that was fine. The more she hated me, the more it proved I was making the right decision. What do you mean, what's my game? I said, baffled. You're the one who wanted this. I'm agreeing to it, and now you won't go? What do you want? You're enjoying this, aren't you? She accused, pointing a finger at me. You think you've won. You think you can threaten me with this. I'm not threatening you. I just don't want to be tangled up in this anymore. It's pointless, don't you get it? Pointless? Then why were you desperately clinging to me before? Was that pointless? She demanded. You're right. I was being pathetic. My mistake, I said flatly. I'm done being pathetic now. Can we please just go get this over with? I opened the door and walked out. She followed me, silent. For the first time in a long time, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Letting go wasn't so hard after all. A month later, our divorce was finalized. At the courthouse, she asked me one last time, Ethan, are you sure? The next day, I left that town for good. It was snowing heavily. Chloe offered to drive me to the station, but I refused. I had only one suitcase with me. She followed me silently to the curb, her phone buzzing several times in her pocket. She ignored it, then finally just turned it off. I walked to the bus station alone. I don't know why she came to see me off. Maybe out of guilt for what she'd done, for how my leaving paved the way for her and Kyle. Maybe she just pitied me. After all I'd given, this was how it ended. It didn't matter anymore. I had made my decision. I wasn't looking back. As I was about to board, she grabbed my arm. "Ethan, let me know when you get there safely." "Don't wait," I said, pulling away gently. "Go home. We're divorced now. From now on, let's just be strangers." I didn't look back as I walked away. But after a dozen yards, I chanced to glance over my shoulder. She was still standing there, a small figure in the falling snow, just watching me. I sighed and disappeared into the crowd. Standing on the platform, I was surrounded by couples holding hands, kissing, wrapped in each other's arms. 3 years ago, that had been me, arriving in this town full of hope and love. 3 years later, I was leaving, scarred and bitter. Goodbye, Chloe. Goodbye to my youth. I'm never coming back. When I got home, my parents didn't yell. They just told me to get some rest. I cut off the long hair I'd grown out and got a new style. I threw away everything that reminded me of her. There was no trace of Chloe left in my life. I had finally moved on. My degree was in elementary education, but there were no teaching positions open in my hometown. I was stuck at home for a while. Then, a friend of my sister's who was moving abroad recommended me for a job at her friend's company. It was a small but growing firm with good benefits. I was hired as a technical writer. The office culture was great. My colleagues were friendly, and we often did team-building activities like volunteering at underprivileged schools. I loved the job. 3 months in, I was settling in nicely. Life was good, but then our general manager had a health crisis. He had a sudden heart attack and, after recovering, took early retirement. A new GM was appointed. I never, in my wildest dreams, expected it to be Chloe. I saw her for the first time in the company cafeteria. I was in the middle of lunch when she walked in. I immediately ducked my head, hoping she wouldn't see me. Even though I was over her, the thought of interacting was just awkward. Luckily, she didn't seem to notice me. The company was big enough, with enough employees, that we could remain strangers. My role as a technical writer had almost zero interaction with the GM. I figured if I could just keep my head down, I could continue working there without any issues. As for why she was here, I figured she wanted a fresh start in a new place. After that, my mom, desperate to see me move on, started setting me up on a string of blind dates. I thought she was rushing things, but I was 30. For a guy from a normal family, being 30 and unmarried was cause for concern. To make her happy, I went. The dates were, without exception, disasters. One woman wanted me to be a house husband. Another wanted a live-in English tutor for her niece, for free. It was comical. I was telling Mark about the latest train wreck on a call after work. He burst out laughing. Free tutoring for her niece? Dude, was she into you or your English degree? Who knows? Maybe both. And you were okay with being used like that? What do you mean? I didn't agree to it. But if she begged you, would you do it? He teased. That would depend on how good she was at begging, I shot back. Ooh, look at you, Ethan. Getting a little ruthless, huh? Mark laughed, that goofy sound I'd come to appreciate. Shut up, man. I gotta go, I said, hanging up with a smile. Everyone has their own agenda. I figured as long as I knew what I wanted and didn't let anyone else's drama affect me, I'd be fine. I thought I could keep things peaceful. After that one glimpse in the cafeteria, I didn't see Chloe again. Then I got some good news. The city was opening a new experimental elementary school in a developing area and was hiring teachers. My major was a perfect fit. I sent in my application immediately. A week later, our company organized a volunteer day at a school in a low-income rural area. Because of my teaching background, I was asked to go. I thought it was strange. Usually they picked volunteers by rotation. Why me specifically? Later, I found out it was Chloe's doing. I went with the volunteer team. The kids were sweet and eager to learn, but their school was desperately under-resourced. Their English class was taught by the math teacher. I had the right background, so I taught a class for them. It was exhausting, but seeing the kids light up made it all worth it. After the lesson, I was playing with the kids in the schoolyard. It was fun at first, but after a while I started to feel drained. That's when Chloe walked over. Tired? She asked. A little, I admitted. Why don't you take a break? She gently steered a few of the kids away from me. I've got this. I looked at her, surprised. You? She laughed. What? You think I can handle it? I used to be a teacher's aide, you know. Don't underestimate me. That's not what I meant. I mumbled, embarrassed. Go on, rest. I've got it covered, she insisted. Okay. I relented. Back at my desk the next day, my head was pounding. A lingering side effect from the accident was a sharp, stabbing pain in my temples that flared up when I was stressed. I didn't have any painkillers with me and knew I wouldn't make it through the afternoon. I texted Mark and asked him if he could give me a ride home early. He ended up taking me to an urgent care clinic. The doctor said I had an acute stomach flu and needed an 4-drip. I called my mom and asked her to bring my medical file from home. She and my dad rushed over and handled the paperwork while I lay down in a bed in the infusion room. The place was noisy, full of coughing and chatter. I closed my eyes, trying to rest. After a while, I heard a familiar voice. Ethan. I opened my eyes. Carl was standing by my bed. How did you get here? I asked. Your colleague told me, she replied. Mark? Yeah. I glanced around the room. Sure enough, there was Mark hiding behind a curtain, peeking out at us. That guy could not keep a secret. Do you need something? I asked her. Are you okay? She asked, her voice soft. I'm fine, but I was looking at your chart. The date you were admitted after the car accident. She trailed off. Her face was pale, white as a sheet. She was clutching my medical file so tightly her knuckles were white, as if she were the patient, not me. It clicked. The day I'd asked her for the divorce after the accident, I had gone to the hospital. I'd tucked the doctor's report inside my medical file and completely forgotten about it. Until today, when Chloe had seen it. She finally understood. The day I'd broken up with her, I had just been in a serious accident, and I'd taken a month off work to recover. The irony was almost funny. Do you blame me? She whispered. For what? Is that why you wanted a divorce? Because you blame me for the accident? No, I said, shaking my head. Then why? She pressed. Because. I looked her straight in the eye. I didn't love you anymore. I took a few sick days to recover at home. Chloe tried to visit once, but I didn't let her in. A few days later, a care package with expensive milk and supplements arrived from the company's employee wellness committee. I knew it was from her. Probably her way of trying to atone for her guilt. 2 days before I was due back at work, I got a text from an unknown number. You and Chloe are divorced. Stop clinging to her like a pathetic loser. The number seemed vaguely familiar. Then I remembered and blocked it. It was Kyle. The first day back, Mark came over to my desk as soon as I sat down. Ethan, I've got some news. What is it? Kyle Matthews is here. Which Kyle? I asked, playing dumb. What other Kyle is there? Our esteemed CEO's husband, Kyle. Oh, I said, my face a mask of indifference. Their drama is all over the office, man, Mark went on. What drama? Don't pretend you haven't heard the gossip in the break room. He insisted on dragging me over. As we approached, we could hear voices. Did you guys know? Chloe's husband is that guy she cheated on her ex-husband with? I heard she was with her ex since college, then dumped him for Kyle. But then she decided Kyle was a loser and dumped him too, but he just wouldn't let her go. Yeah, I heard that too. He showed up here last week waiting for her, and when we asked who he was, he said he was Chloe's husband. We were all shocked. Chloe had to come down and drag him away. Apparently, she only came to this company to get away from the gossip at her old job. Everyone there knew she cheated. Well, that Kyle guy looks like a real piece of work anyway. Who knows? Maybe he's good in bed. The group erupted in laughter. Listening to it all, I felt nothing. Not a single ripple of emotion. Let's go, I said to Mark. After work, I didn't go straight home. A woman from another department had set me up on a blind date. I was heading to my car in the parking garage when Chloe suddenly appeared. Ethan, she waved as she approached my car. I rolled down the window. Something I can help you with? Are you feeling better? She asked, her brow furrowed with concern. I was never sick, I said coolly. You were on 4-drip, she said, annoyed. What right did she have to be annoyed with me? Just then, Kyle walked up. Well, if it isn't Teacher Ethan, he sneered. Hello, Kyle, I said politely. Look at this, Chloe, Kyle said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Such a dedicated employee. So sick he has to be hospitalized, but still shows up for work. Kyle, don't be an ass, Chloe snapped. Oh, Ethan, you're a real piece of work, Kyle said, ignoring her and turning on me. You're divorced, but you still have Chloe wrapped around your little finger. All you have to do is get a little sick, and she comes running. You did this on purpose, didn't you? Kyle, Chloe warned. What, Chloe? Why are you so defensive of him? Kyle shot back. Kyle, you've got it all wrong, I said calmly. Wrong about what? Chloe and I are done. She's the one who sought me out today, I explained. What? No way. Kyle's eyes widened. Kyle, have you had enough? Chloe said through gritted teeth. You lie to me, Chloe, Kyle yelled, pointing a finger in her face. Chloe said nothing, her expression grim. Look, Kyle, I'm sorry, but Chloe and I have nothing to do with each other anymore, I said firmly. I'd appreciate it if you both would leave me out of your lives. Just then, a beautiful woman walked up to my car. Ethan, is everything okay? Julia, I said, relieved. And you are? Julia asked, looking at Chloe. Chloe's face changed in an instant. For some reason, the sight of Julia made her incredibly nervous. I'm Chloe Anderson, she said quickly. Julia Kong. Julia replied with a pleasant smile. Are you Ethan's? Chloe hesitated. I'm his blind date, Julia said, beaming. The color drained from Chloe's face. Let's get out of here, I said to Julia. I'm sorry you had to see that, Julia, I said once we were on the road. Don't be, she said with an easy smile. I was about to say, you don't have to explain. I get it, she said, her voice full of understanding. To be honest, I confessed, I'm not really ready to start seeing someone. That's completely normal. Don't worry about it, she said kindly. Thank you. Anytime, she replied. For the next few weeks, the office was consumed with gossip about Chloe and Kyle. That Kyle guy picks her up every single day. I heard he loses his mind if another guy even looks at Chloe for too long. Yeah, he's been giving all the new male employees a hard time. I don't get what she sees in him. It's a shame. She seems like a nice person. Well, the guy's a lucky bastard, I'll give him that. But why is he so insecure? Probably because he knows she's been with other men. Listening to the rumors, I had to laugh. Back then, Kyle had been so sure he could make Chloe his and his alone. Now, not even a year into their marriage, he was already paranoid and possessive. It seemed their great love story wasn't going so well after all. Chloe, under the guise of the Employee Wellness Committee, sent me supplements and health foods for months. Eventually, Kyle found out. One evening, as I was leaving work late, I ran into Chloe by the main entrance. Ethan, how have you been? She asked. I'm fine, Miss Anderson. Thank you for your concern, I replied formally. That's good, she murmured. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. Ethan, she called out, stopping me. Yes, those things. They were from me, personally, not from the committee. I appreciate the thought, Miss Anderson, but I'd ask you not to do again. Please don't interfere in my life. I made my position as clear as I possibly could. I wanted nothing to do with her. Ethan, don't you? She started, then stopped. Don't I what? Nothing, she said, shaking her head. Take care of yourself, Miss Anderson, I said, and turned to leave. I hadn't taken 3 steps before Kyle appeared out of nowhere. You're a real actor, Ethan, you know that? He snarled, blocking my path. What are you talking about? Didn't you say you were over Chloe? He demanded. I am, I said with a nod. Then why is she still sending you gifts? How should I know? I was starting to find this whole thing ridiculous. You don't know, he scoffed. It's because of that stupid car accident. You made her feel sorry for you, so she can't get you out of her head. I just stared at him, speechless. I'm warning you, stop playing these pathetic games, he shouted. You're unbelievable, I muttered, shaking my head. I tried to walk around him, but he grabbed my collar and drew back his fist. Just as his knuckles were about to connect with my face, a sharp slap echoed in the quiet evening air. Kyle stumbled back, a red handprint blooming on his cheek. It was Julia. Kyle stared at her, stunned. You, he sputtered, holding his face. You dare touch him? Julia's eyes flashed with anger. Why do you keep hitting me? Kyle whined. Because you deserve it, she said coldly. You. He was seething, but speechless. Let's go, Julia said, taking my arm and leading me away. I'm sorry you keep seeing me at my worst, I said to her later. It's okay. I'm used to it by now, she said with a smile. I looked at her, confused. I don't mean it like that, she quickly clarified. I just mean, it's normal for a guy to look a little pathetic in front of a woman sometimes. You don't have to try and make me feel better. I'm not. I'm serious, she said, her expression sincere. The next day, I wrote my letter of resignation and submitted it. For the first time, Chloe came to my office, holding the letter in her hand. Ethan, did Kyle bother you again? She asked. No, I said. Then why are you quitting? Ms. Anderson, can I ask you something I probably shouldn't? Does your leaving your last job have anything to do with Kyle? She froze for a second. No, of course not. Then why are you so concerned about my reasons? I asked. She trailed off. Okay. She let out a long sigh. Ethan, I hope you understand that I really don't want things to be hostile between us. I know, I nodded, but some of the things you did in the past, they caused me a lot of pain. I'm sorry, she whispered. You don't have to be. You didn't do anything wrong. You just fell out of love with me. I understand, she said, her voice barely audible. Then please, stop trying to be a part of my life. Okay, she nodded. I hope you find happiness, I said. Thanks, she replied. Goodbye. Goodbye, she said. And with that, I walked away. After leaving the company, I started my new job at the experimental elementary school. I was back where I belonged, teaching. My new colleagues were wonderful, and the principal valued my work. Julia and I remained good friends, meeting up for dinner every now and then. We discovered a strange coincidence. Our fathers used to be colleagues. Both were English teachers at the same high school years ago, before my dad moved to the middle school. Mark still called me occasionally with updates on Chloe. Ethan, you won't believe it. Chloe managed to turn around that account that lost us a fortune last year. She's a genius. Ethan, Chloe got another promotion. Ethan, She's being transferred back to corporate headquarters. Ethan, you and Chloe. The last time I saw her was in Florida. My family and Julia's family had decided to take a vacation together. One evening, I was taking a walk along the beach when I heard arguing in the distance. The voices were familiar. It was Chloe and Kyle. You were trying to add his contact info on Venmo again. Kyle yelled. I was just sending him a payment request. That's all. Chloe retorted. Don't lie to me. Believe whatever you want, she said, her voice weary. Are you looking for another man already? He accused. You're insane, she snapped. You're calling me insane? Fine, I'll show you insane. I didn't listen to the rest. Julia came up and tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, where are you up to? Nothing, I said, smiling at her. Come on, let's go hang out with our families, she suggested. Sound good, I agreed. I looked up and saw my family waving at me from our spot on the beach. My mom was standing next to my dad, who was busy cracking open a fresh coconut for me. I smiled and waved back. My new life was just beginning.